If you're one of the several thousand Australians living deep in the core network of the matrix without off-street parking, and you are considering buying an electric car to, I don't know, do the right thing, you're going to need to use public charging. You'll be relying on that. That's pretty much a given. Unfortunately, though, if that's you, electricity of this kind, i.e. fast DC charging electricity, just got more expensive even than petrol. And its upward trajectory is unlikely to level out anytime soon. I'm John Cadogan from AutoExpert.com.au. New cars cheap, but Australia only. Website, card. Australia's second largest public charging operator, EV, which is EVIE, like so clever, has just pumped up their electricity prices again for the second time in 12 months. Of course, they have a bullshit virtuous justification for all of this, and you should read it if you want to have your intelligence insulted. When I read it, I formed the view that, if true, they just didn't crunch the numbers properly at the outset of the project. Like, oops-a-daisy. So they're either bullshitting like true champions in the golden age of, almost convincingly in other words, or they're just incompetent, or both, which is kind of Epicurean when you think about it. EV put prices up 10% back in July, and now they have hiked their prices by as much as 43%. A massive hike on the slowest chargers they operate and a little less on the faster ones. If you're dependent on public chargers because you rent or you don't have off-street parking or you're on a frickin' road trip, the electrons for your EV just got more expensive than actual liquid fuel for an equivalent conventional car. This is madness. And let's not forget that liquid fuels are in fact subject to 46 cents worth of fuel excise per litre, which is roughly 25% tax, not including the GST. There is, of course, no excise that I can find on electricity. I just crunched the numbers on a simple road trip of 300 kilometres using a Mazda 3 versus a Tesla Model 3. And it's definitely cheaper to drive the Mazda from Canberra to Sydney. Like, it's close, but cheaper in the combustion car. Details on this in just a sec. This video brought to you by Manscaped.com, along with a strong suggestion to step into 2024 confidently, looking good, feeling good kind of thing. The Performance Package 5.0 Ultra is the ultimate all-inclusive kit to get this job done. And I'm all about the right tools, dude, you know that. The Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra Trimmer takes grooming to a whole new level with two interchangeable skin-safe blade heads. First, the updated trimmer blade features longer, wider, rounded teeth that slash hair effortlessly, yet are incredibly gentle on skin. Next, the foil blade. It's going to leave you with that irresistibly smooth finish. There's no law saying you have to rustle when you walk down the street, dude. That's just evolution failing to keep up. This is essentially two trimmers, but you only pay for one. The Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra also has a bigger LED with two colour temperatures. It's engineered to enhance multiple skin tones. Hard to reach areas are thus perfectly lit. It's still waterproof, IPX7 rated, so you save time and clean-up's a breeze in the shower. Rechargeable lithium-ion battery, there's a travel lock for portability, USB-C charging, and a 3-level battery indicator. Plus, you kiss nose and ear hairs goodbye with the Weed Whacker 2.0. A few seconds is all this takes. This thing is great compared with alternatives, and the effect on one's overall presentation is significant. It's also waterproof, cordless, rechargeable, and it comes with skin-safe technology. Next, Crop Soother and Crop Preserver, a dynamic duo perfectly crafted to keep you comfortable all day long. Crop Soother is enriched with colloidal oats, shea butter, and cocoa seed butter, providing essential moisture and soothing relief for the twins and related areas. The Crop Preserver Ball Deodorant is a simple, self-explanatory solution to a problem which nobody deserves. When you order the Performance Package 5.0 Ultra, you also get 2 free gifts. First is the Boxes 2.0. These are not regular boxes. They're designed for ultimate comfort and style and come with a jewel pouch. Plus, Manscaped also throws in the Shed 2.0, a rugged go bag that keeps all of this gear organised and ready to roll to the gym or the airport at a moment's notice. Resolutions come and go, I suppose, but staying well-groomed is easy. Join the 9 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped. Go to manscaped.com/autoexpert now and grab the Performance Package 5.0 Ultra today. Use the promo code AEJC to get 20% off, plus free international shipping and 2 free gifts. That's 20% off plus free shipping with 2 free gifts with promo code AEJC at manscaped.com/autoexpert. Manscaped, your balls will thank you. So if you pull up to one of EV's 150 kilowatt DC fast chargers, which they call super fast, of course, to disambiguate between their 50 kilowatt chargers, which are just fast, and their 350 kilowatt chargers, which are ultra fast. Like, dude, why not just use the frickin' numbers? We're talking about a quantifiable thing. At least the numbers have meaning. Anyway, I'll get off my high horse on that. If you pull up to the 150 kilowatt one, the electricity from it is going to cost you a massive 68 cents per kilowatt hour. What does this mean? According to CanStar Blue, average New South Wales residents pay just over 30 cents per kilowatt hour for their electricity, which they draw from the frickin' wall at home. So EV is charging you more than double that for the fancy box out there in the rain. You're going to be standing there for 40 minutes in a grubby parking lot. In the dark, it's wet. You'll be standing between the syringes and the used condoms, saving the planet. That's not like, total exploitation of your need to remain mobile, is it? So, if you're driving from Sydney to which is about 300 kilometres, or about as far as you could hope to get in one hit in a Tesla Model 3, or you just drove there and you need to recharge, you are going to be in the market for about 60 kilowatt hours of electricity. That's enough to run the average home for like 4 days, okay? That's going to cost you $40.80 in an EV 150 kilowatt DC rip-off dispenser. And hey, if you can afford a Model 3, dude, you could afford the $40. It's kind of trivial. I get that. But if you bought a Mazda 3 GT instead, that would be the one with the 2.5 litre engine, like the big engine. It's going to return probably about 7 litres per 100 Ks on the highway. The official figure is 5.3, so 7 seems quite reasonable for those driving conditions. That's 21 litres of E10, which is going to cost you at about $1.80 a litre. It's going to cost you $37.80 versus nearly $41 in the Model 3. Loosely, I suppose you could call that, being extremely generous, approximate price parity. This is worth noting because EVs have the potential to do the most good in our cities, in the most densely populated parts of said cities, with the fewest residents having access to off-street parking for charging their cars at home. We've already seen local councils in Sydney suburbs with the highest proportion of merchant banking sociopaths, I'm looking at you, Mossman, cracking down on dipshits who think it's a good idea to run their extension cords over the footpath, through the trees, over the side fence, whatever, to their car to charge it. Like, dude, what could possibly go wrong? This is occurring because these people lack the capability to charge their virtue signalling masturbation chariots within the confines of their boundaries. And public charging is therefore the only responsible option for those people. And this, of course, means that they're going to be bent over by the likes of Evie at will, because senior government arseholes in Australia can no longer achieve anything worthwhile without first giving a decent old reach around to the free market. So this kind of upward trajectory, some would say pricing extortion, is a snapshot of what the electric utopia of the future is actually gonna look like. Dude, people always accuse me of being anti-EV or an EV hater. Au contraire, I do get something of a TP in the old trousers when that happens, the accusation, and I know that's a character defect, and I'm disinclined to change, and I know that's even more of a character defect, but hey, look at me, I'm old. In fact, I don't hate EVs. I am emphatically not against them. I think they're awesome. They're really, really good at reducing local air pollution, and they're not half bad at sort of bolstering our national energy security. But they're being rolled out into society so badly. That's abundantly clear. What I do hate, however, are the people lying to you about EVs. They're queuing up over the horizon to misrepresent them, okay? Mainly because it's intelligence insulting. That's why I hate them, and you don't deserve that. Electric cars actually float in on a sea of myths. There is a functional, enthusiastic, committed 12th century religious evangelism cult behind EVs, with no shortage of the faithful, these proponents ready to misrepresent the facts about EVs to you at every turn, to get you to join their cult. Take that guy. You recognise him. You might not know why, but you do. He is, in fact, a shoemaker, and that's not why you recognise him at all, but he is most famous, perhaps, for dressing up like that. Insofar as I can tell, he doesn't have any technical qualifications whatsoever. Yet he has become a self-styled poster boy of myth-busting positivity concerning electric virtue. And he's coming to Sydney very soon for Fully Charred, which I don't think they call it anymore. But it should be quite entertaining watching the faithful ooh and ah over electric this and electric that. He really, really likes EVs, and of course this is allowed, but the propaganda machine that he stands in front of is properly shameful. That's a personal opinion. He wants you to simply hashtag stop burning stuff, as if this would be somehow easy or even doable. Like, don't waste my time with these bullshit concepts. He flies his Fully Charred ensemble around the world on a magic carpet of CO2, the result of obvious and copious combustion. And I don't see that happening any other way. Fully Charred Live takes place in giant exhibition centres that just cannot exist without hydrocarbon energy. I assume he lives a fairly affluent lifestyle that can only be maintained by hashtag actually burning a lot of stuff. So it all seems rather hypocritical to me, the virtue. And clearly, if we stop burning stuff, we return to the Stone Age functionally in a matter of a couple of weeks. Humans living in essentially the Stone Age today, like in proper poverty in the undeveloped parts of the world, they get dragged out from time to time, but not by green virtue. It happens because of access to hydrocarbon energy. And then a whole bunch of really, really positive things happen to them. They start living longer. Women get emancipated. They get closer to equality because, if I was a feminist, I'd be taking the fight to the developed world because, in my view, the battle's been won here already. Time for a ceasefire, in other words. These are just facts, right? If you live in a city, you burn stuff. That's how it works. It cannot be stopped. World War III might stop it, I suppose, but who wants that? The car industry wants you to think that you can buy your way out of climate change with their shiny new electric toys. Politician assholes want you to believe this also, mainly so that they can continue to do business as usual, playing the fossil fuel industry's flute under the table and continuing the unabated property development involved in expanding our big cities in the most energy inefficient but profitable manner, seemingly without end. Don't concern yourself with that. Look at this beautiful EV. And the people who buy EVs, many of them turn into insufferable self-righteous twats who don't want to admit to themselves and or to you that they jumped the gun or they backed the wrong fucking horse. That's just how it is, dude. They will say, for example, and we could be here all day, but I'll try not to be. For example, EVs are, quote, better in every respect. I get that a lot, and I agree. Like, yeah, dude, except for the range, the upfront cost, the depreciation, the insurance, the weight, the potential severity of any fire, the battery replacement cost, the lack of a battery recycling mandate, inadequate charging infrastructure, and the unavoidable incremental degradation of that battery over time, this statement is quite true. They're going to say EVs are, quote, maintenance free. I love that one too. Despite having cooling systems and braking systems and electrical suspension and steering systems, wiper blades, tyres, all of which require servicing, replacement, routine checks from time to time, just like every other fucking car. The only thing they don't need to do is change the oil. Like, they'll say EVs are simpler. I love that one too, despite the fact that the battery contains something like 7,000 individual cells, which, when you think about it, is 14,000 fundamental electrical connections, which added up, that's 21,000 potential failure modes and counting. Just got to say, there is no engine in any car that I can think of with 7,000 components. If just one of those cells or connections malfunctions, it is a 5-figure financial problem potentially for you or your insurer, and possibly also a proper hazmat emergency. These are all facts, not conjecture, not opinion. You don't have to like them. Just tell yourself, I'm just an EV hater. I'm an EV realist. The worst EV fires are more severe than the worst combustion car fires. That's a fact. They're hotter, more toxic, and unfightable. Keep telling yourself they don't catch fire as often if you like. But here in the real world, risk simply does not work in this way. We still do not have the hazard reduction countermeasures in place, and this is disgraceful. I do not want to be in a tunnel when, I don't know, a Ranger Wildtrak takes on a Model 3, and I really don't care whose fault it is. That kind of doesn't matter. I just don't want to be in that tunnel at that time because the deluge system, it's not going to cope. People will die. Doesn't get more serious than that. And yet I agree that EVs have their place in future transportation, contemporary transportation. If we get the hair and makeup right, certainly they have a place. Short commutes in densely populated cities are crying out for EVs. Decent mass transit systems would be better, cheaper, cleaner, certainly. But EVs definitely have their place. And it's not an either or proposition in any case. We could have both. People also tell me that EVs are cheaper to run. Like, they're saving money on fuel, dude. It seems quite odd to me to pay 20 grand more upfront for an EV compared with the cost of an equivalent combustion car if your sole objective is to save money on fuel or anything else. In fact, the national obsession with the cost of fuel is patently absurd as it pertains to new car buyers. Like, if you've got 40 grand or more to spend on a car, you can afford the fuel. You might not enjoy buying it. You might resent the shit out of it, but you can certainly afford it. People who are hit hardest by the cost of fuel, they can't afford new cars. And this is a serious but separate problem. If you can't afford fuel, you might not be able to get from your home to your job. You might not be able to feed your family or keep a roof over their head. That's pretty freaking serious. Still, it's almost impossible to break even financially with an EV, given that the equivalent combustion car has such a preposterous head start on acquisition cost if we compare apples with apples. And that's if you can charge your EV at home. It is flat out impossible to break even if you are forced to park out on the street and are therefore at the mercy of 6 monthly electricity price hikes that are the product of either ongoing incompetence or naked profiteering, or both, from the likes of Evie. And personally, as somebody who remembers the momentous day when petrol first topped the $1 per litre mark, I can't wait for the $1 per kilowatt hour barrier to break. Will this take place in 2024, or will we have to wait for 2025? Only time will tell.